Wisdom, the final frontier to true knowledge. Welcome to Wisdom Trek, where our mission is to create a legacy of wisdom, to seek out discernment and insights, to boldly grow where few have chosen to grow before. Hello, my friend. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, your captain on our journey to increase wisdom and create a living legacy. Thank you for joining us today as we explore wisdom on our second millennium podcast. This is day 1388 of our trek and time for our Philosophy Friday series. Each Friday we will ponder some of the fundamental truths and mysteries of life and how they can impact us in creating our living legacy. As we continue on with this trek called life, sometimes we have questions about life, so our Friday trek is a time where we can ask Gramps. Gramps will answer the questions that you would like to ask your dad or to granddad, but for whatever reason, this is not possible. No matter how old we are, I know that all of us would like the opportunity to ask Dad or Gramps questions about life in many areas. We may mix it up a bit on our Friday episodes, but we'll strive to keep them down to earth and enjoyable. If you have any questions that you would like to ask Gramps, please email them to guthrie@wisdom-trek.com. So the question for this week is, hey Gramps, I realize that after this whole COVID-19 pandemic is under control, life will take on some sort of normalcy for most people. I can't get my mind around how life will change with so many people out of work and many businesses not being able to survive. What is your take on how life will be after COVID-19? So today's segment will be Life After COVID-19, Part 1. This question is certainly too broad to answer in one segment, so today will be the first of several Ask Gramps features, which will analyze various areas of life and how this pandemic will impact them. Please make sure that you download our Friday podcast sessions to follow the complete analysis. Better yet, subscribe to Wisdom Trek so you can gain a bit of wisdom 5 days a week. While I'm not a prophet, nor a son of a prophet, speculation that I have about COVID-19 is just that, speculation. Although, after nearly 64 years of life and over 40 years as an entrepreneur and small business owner, I have already been through several business cycles. I am also a father of 5 grown children and 7 grandchildren. Throughout the years, I've been very active in church ministries and other community groups. Since my primary career focus has been on technology, I have been on the forefront of changes in business and society throughout the years. With that being said, I'll try to share some insights to address your question. One thing that sets this pandemic situation apart from all other world events, including the 2 world wars, is that the COVID-19 has impacted all nations of the world and has brought all economies to its knees. In some ways, this may be a good thing. While we may not all be in the same boat, we are certainly all experiencing the same violent storm. Some of the boats are sturdy and well built, and its occupants won't be impacted significantly. Others are swept away by the raging currents, either through a loss of life or complete financial devastation, leaving them stranded alone, and they will have to start all over with nothing. We who are more fortunate must be willing and ready to help those who are devastated. Especially as Christ followers, this must be our high calling after COVID-19. But let me offer some perspective. It has been said that crises don't so much alter the course of history as accelerate the changes that are already underway. There has never been a crisis in the past that has been more true than today. In many areas, this pandemic will rattle the very fabric of the world economy and infrastructure by compressing what may have taken 10 or 20 years down to a 1 or 2 year time frame. While these impacts will affect all countries, since I live in the U.S., my analysis will focus primarily on the U.S. If you listen from another country, be assured that there will be similar impacts in your country also. I will explore several areas over the next few weeks, but not in any particular order. Let's start to consider this week jobs in manufacturing. It is my concern that unemployment will remain very high for quite some time, possibly for a year or more. With that understood, the pandemic will actually strengthen the job market long-term to the point where I think we will be actively pursuing more legal immigration through the radical reformation of our immigration laws. There will be an accelerated change that comes from COVID-19 as related to offshoring of American jobs. Throughout the world, we have already seen there has been a renewed sense of nationalism. Whether you like or support President Trump, this renewed focus is what allowed him to become president. In recent years, businesses have been rethinking the way that overextended overseas supply lines expose them to unacceptable risk. This reassessment got a boost from President Trump's reorientation of a U.S. trade policy. The lemming-like desire for efficiency had caused many corporations to move manufacturing over the past 2 decades to China, Vietnam, and Indonesia, among many other places. Corporations did so to save labor costs and to avoid environmental standards, but that wasn't the whole story. Offshoring was a trend that morphed into a craze. Egged on by Wall Street analysts and management consultants, or simply swept away by the herd mentality of their peers, businesses came to see offshoring as something they were expected to do to serve the interest of their shareholders. Many failed to weigh the long-term cost independently or meaningfully consider any alternatives. For business, the strategy paid off in short term. Cheap labor meant higher profits. But for America, the effects were traumatic. The United States lost 5 million manufacturing jobs. That in turn devastated towns and contributed to the breakdown of families, an opioid epidemic, and despair. As a result of these developments, the offshoring frenzy started to abate. Since the administration first imposed duties on China's imports in July 2018, American companies, including Apple, Whirlpool, and Stanley Black & Decker, have scrapped offshoring plans and announced decisions to move production to the United States. Automotive companies have announced $34 billion of new U.S. investments as a result of the new United States-Mexico-Canada agreement. A report called the Kearney Reshoring Index, which measures companies' global production strategies, shifted significantly in 2019, reversing a 5-year trend. Imports of manufacturing goods from low-wage Asian countries fell, while the U.S. domestic manufacturing output remained strong. Our experiences of the past 2 months through this epidemic will only accelerate this reversal. As companies prepared to reopen their U.S. operations, many have found themselves held hostage to the decisions made by foreign governments about whether their supplies are essential or not. Nearly every day, I read about a business leader who acknowledges that they underestimated the risk of their decision to move jobs overseas or to rely on production of small but critical parts in some far-off and often unstable country. Corporations' short-sightedness in our scenarios today reminds me of a story that Jesus Christ tells when we consider the cost of being his disciples in Luke chapter 1, verses 28 through 30. And this is what Jesus said, "But don't begin until you count the cost. For who would begin constructing a building without first calculating the cost to see if there was enough money to finish it? Otherwise, you might complete only the foundation before running out of money, and then everyone would laugh at you. They would say, 'There's a person who started that building and could not afford to finish it.'" Today, we are only scratching the surface of some of the accelerated changes that we will see over the next few years. Next Friday, we'll explore more areas of the transformation that is to come. I think you'll find it interesting. And that's a wrap for today's question. Join us again next Friday for a continuation of this question on our Ask Gramps episode. Our next trek will be Meditation Monday, where we will help you to reflect on what is most important in life. So encourage your friends and family to join us. And then come along with us on Monday for another day of Wisdom Trek, Creating a Legacy. If you'd like to listen to any of the past 1,387 daily treks or read the associated journals, they are all available at wisdom-trek.com. And I encourage you to subscribe to Wisdom Trek on your favorite podcast player so that each day will be downloaded to you automatically. And thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor. But most importantly, I am your friend as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal each day. And as we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and create a great day every day. See you on Monday.